Hello, everyone. We are the WashU Prosperity Partners, and we're here to present our innovative financial wellness solutions for the gig economy. Our focus is on addressing the financial stress which is faced by gig workers in the quick service restaurant industry, hereinafter referred to as QSR, because this poses a problem for both workers and employers. Before we dive into the specifics of the case, I'd like to introduce to you our wonder team, which is we have Kalyan, Sandeep, Che, and myself, who have all dipped our toes in the financial services sector at one time or the other, if not completely drowned in it. We are going to kickstart the presentation with giving you an introduction to the problem, followed by the why. Then we'll go to giving you the solution, the how, the wow, and the next steps. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of the presentation. The QSR industry is struggling with a significant challenge. Financial stress amongst its gig workers, who make up 30% of its workforce, which is expected to increase to 50 to 60% by 2030. Two-thirds of these workers report financial stress, which directly affects their well-being, job satisfaction, and productivity. High levels of stress are linked to high attrition, which goes up as high as 75%, meaning employers are constantly dealing with high turnover, costly recruitment and rehiring cycles, along with training and retraining costs. This financial stress not only impacts the workers, but also drives up costs for businesses, reducing profitability in an industry that is already operating on very thin margins. Tackling this problem is essential to improve both worker and business performance. Now, zeroing in on the numbers for this industry, the QSR industry generates around $500 billion annually and represents 55% of the US restaurant industry. This industry also employs around 4 million people, 1.3 million of whom are gig workers. One thing to note here is that this gig worker segment largely comprises of Gen Z and millennials, and hence our solutions are primarily curated to meet these segments' needs. Considering that the attrition rate is high as 75%, there is an urgent need to tackle these issues as restaurant owners. Workers in this space typically have more than one job, so think of them like a McD waiter who also Ubers at night, right? Along with that, you also have on-demand kitchen support staff, delivery drivers, bartenders, and other such workers in the gig economy in QSR. Now, what is their problem, right? Here is where things fall apart for gig workers. 79% of the workforce feel that they lack access to essential benefits like insurance and credit. You have 63% of the Gen Z workers who prefer on-demand pay, but traditional payroll cycles do not support this. Then you have 59% who struggle from irregular schedules and 31% who face insecurity from fluctuating earnings. We have come up with some solutions for this, and my colleague Che is going to take you through it.
Thank you, Nadini. We have 3 solutions to improve the financial wellness of gig workers in the quick service restaurant industry. I will walk us through the challenges these workers face, our proposed solutions, and the benefits they bring. Our first solution is daily tip payment. Gig workers often have immediate expenses and need quick access to their earnings. By offering daily access to their earned tips, we can alleviate financial stress. This simple change can boost productivity and reduce turnover rates, as workers feel more secure and can manage their daily expenses better. Our second solution is student loan match. Many of our Gen Z employees are struggling with student loans. Our match program supports those who stay with us for more than 6 months. This not only aids their financial health, but also encourages long-term employment, improving retention, and fostering a stable work environment. Our third solution is income shield. Unpredictable work schedules can lead to income instability. By providing microinsurance, we offer a safety net for unexpected income shortfalls. This reduces stress and allows workers to focus on their roles, which in turn decreases turnover and builds loyalty. Together, these solutions offer a comprehensive approach to improving financial wellness for gig workers, making them more productive, loyal, and stable. I will hand it over to my colleague, Kalia.
Thank you, Chair. All right, let's get to the heart of it and talk about business impact and measurable outcomes. Let's begin with our favorite term, profitability. We expect net profit to improve by an impressive 12.5%. This substantial boost is primarily driven by two factors, lower employee turnover and increased productivity. Nextly, annual attrition, which is currently at a staggering 75%, is projected to decrease by 10%. This reduction translates into fewer recruitment, onboarding, and training costs, which are significant expenses in high turnover industries. As you can see, both of these benefits are directly tied to the cost drivers, leading to substantial overall cost savings. Breaking down labor costs, which make up around 30% of the total costs in the QSR industry, we anticipate a decrease by 11%. This will be driven by productivity gains and lower attrition of costs, despite the slight increase due to the introduction of new employee benefits. Naturally, achieving these benefits comes with an initial increase in labor costs about 7%, split between 4% for student loan matching and 3% for the microinsurance program. However, these costs are short-term. Over the long run, the program is expected to pay for itself through significant efficiency and improvements. All right, so now that we have crafted this brilliant strategy, what's a strategy without execution? It's like having a map to a treasure, but instead taking a nap, right? So let's talk about how we can plan to turn these solutions into reality, starting with a prototype demonstration and then plan of implementation. So we propose PNC comes up with a digital financial wellness platform specifically for their gig workers to address their specific needs in the QSR, specific financial needs in the QSR industry. To start off with this prototype, we suggest we come up with 3 features. The first being instant tip payments, which will make sure we have seamless processing of tips after every shift. The second one being a loan matching tracker. This is a tool that tracks eligibility for match contributions by employers and integrates with the existing payroll system so that we can minimize the downstream impact. The third one is a micro insurance option, which is easy to access insurance plans. All you have to do is just sign up on their platform. With this solution, we are not reinventing the wheel. We are simply revving up the engine that's already in place and tailoring it to the booming and energetic gig segment instead. The first solution which we propose is a daily tip payment, which my colleague will soon talk about. We propose leveraging the existing check balance capabilities of banks, where a percentage of the balance is initially floated and the remainder is cleared on a rolling basis. By extending this very model to the gig tip payments, and expanding to include credit card transactions, we can provide workers with rolling daily tip payments. This not only offers them immediate financial access, but also serves as a powerful psychological motivator, encouraging consistent attendance and engagement from employees. Now I hand it over to my colleague Sandeep, who's going to talk about the plan of implementation and the research behind it.
Thank you, Kalyan. Let's move into the key research and assumptions that form the foundation of our strategy. First, we recognize that the financial stress is a major productivity killer. Research suggests that employees on an average lose about 7 hours of work due to financial stress, and this is worse in Gen Z employees who lose over 8 hours. And this heavily affects their performance. In terms of attrition, the restaurant industry has a alarming 75% annual turnover rate, and this costs an average of $5,800 per employee. This creates an ongoing cycle of rehiring, retraining, and lost productivity. However, by implementing the financial wellness solutions, we estimate that we can reduce the attrition by 10%. We see that this is a conservative estimate, but still a significant reduction, which will lead to major savings. And we are not just improving employee retention. We project that we can reduce productivity loss by 50%, and this directly translates into a 12.5% reduction in labor costs. Now, while the initial cost of implementing these solutions is projected to increase our expenses by 7%, the long-term benefit is clear, as we mentioned in the business impact, a net 11.5% reduction in costs. These assumptions are grounded in industry data, providing a realistic view of the impact we can expect. Now let's talk about how we can make this happen. Phase 1 is a pilot program where we partner with PNC to test one solution, daily tip payment. Research suggests this drives employee morale the best. So for example, imagine in McDonald's, we roll out this pilot to just 10% of the stores within US. It's about 1,400 locations. The estimated savings comes to 45 million annually, and this is just from phase 1. During this phase, we'll closely monitor the KPIs to assess the productivity, retention, and the cost impact, making the necessary adjustments along the way. Phase 2 is where we roll out the remaining solutions and really scale up. We expand the solutions across all stores and continue to optimize along the way. And finally, in phase 3, PNC can take the proven solutions industry-wide, expand to other QSRs, and the broader hospitality industry. We believe this solution goes beyond the hospitality industry where contractual employees are prevalent, such as medical, construction, or manufacturing. By the end, PNC can position itself as an industry leader in financial wellness for gig workers. Another point to note here is PNC can leverage this platform to cross-sell their financial products like savings accounts, loans, and insurance to employees, turning it into a new customer acquisition channel while building long-term relationship with a growing gig workforce. I would like to pass it on to Kalyan, who will talk about some of the benefits that go beyond the bottom line.
Thank you, Sandeep. While financial performance is crucial, the true impact of a solution extends far beyond profit margins. By addressing the financial wellness of gig workers, we are not only improving the quality of life, but also creating a ripple effect that benefits the entire organization, thereby boosting employee morale, enhancing customer satisfaction, and strengthening the overall company's brand. This holistic approach transforms workplaces into more resilient, future-ready environments where both people and profits can thrive together. Now I hand it over to Nandini, who's going to conclude the presentation.
Thank you, Kalyan. Now, our proposed financial wellness solutions, as we mentioned, boost productivity, reduce attrition, and improve gig worker loyalty. By addressing core financial stressors such as core financial stresses like daily access to tips, reduce attrition, student loan matching, microinsurance, we empower workers and create lasting business value. What's next? We recommend piloting one solution with PNC for the next 6 months and tracking certain metrics. By tracking metrics such as order fulfillment, employee turnover rate, average check size, amongst other key metrics, we can refine and scale these solutions together across the QSR industry and beyond. Together, we can reshape the financial future for gig workers, creating sustainable impact for businesses and employees alike. Thank you. We'd now like to open the floor for any questions.
How much is this going to cost PNC? It seems like there's a lot of money being spent with the floating of the wages, the microloans, the matching of scholarships and things like that.
Yes, yes, I would love to take that question. So the first solution is the daily tip payments. I mean, this is as I've suggested, as I've already told, we're not reinventing the wheel. We are already leveraging the existing capability which the bank has in the form of the check clearance. All we are saying is create a separate segment for the gig economy, which is booming, and then leverage that for credit cards and make sure these people get tips on a daily basis, and just build on top of that. So I don't think for the first solution that would be any significant investment from PNC. Probably the investment would be, establishing those partnerships with the businesses so as to, make sure they are in their ecosystem.
But what about the other ones?
Like student loan matching and micro.
Right, the student loan matching. Like how much is PNC putting out per company?
I think for both those solutions, the cost will be to the employer majorly. They will be doing the matching. PNC will be providing the platform to track the
Okay, so how much?
matching. So
will
it will be mostly the development.
How much are the employers then paying? Like if I sign on for you, how much do I have to pay per employee?
So we have not established a fee yet.
Okay.
We decided that this is the economic value that is being created for the restaurant. So how much to charge is to be.
Not you. So like if you're matching my student loans and I have $30,000 in student loans, are you saying that the employer has to, like I pay 15 as a gig employee and then the employer pays 15 grand?
I think it's close to what because these are contractual employees, so we don't actually make any 401k or any towards retirements. So instead of doing that, we'll be doing this. It will be in the similar scale, somewhere around 3 to 5%.
So it's basically you have to be eligible, being you have to be with the company for at least 6 months. And then based on how much ever outstanding is there, it would be a percentage of the daily, percentage of your payroll. That's what we are proposing. But again, for employers, that would not be significant cost because this gig economy is on the rise. Now that if the quick service has 70% full-time and 30% gig, in the next 10 years, it's going to be 40% and 60%. So you would basically be funneling the money from the full-time fund, the full-time employee fund to the gig economy.
Okay.
And just to answer the question.
Yeah, it's on.
Go ahead, just talk.
Yeah, just to answer the question. So considering that it's gig economy and we're not really, there's no industry standard across to how much they're getting paid, we would be matching their student loan, but it would be capped to a certain percentage of what they are earning right now. And that would largely depend on what the employer fixes it as.
So if you page forward 2 slides, that was the 7% number? Yes. That's the number you budgeted.
Yes.
Can you expand a bit on the market? So the overlap between QSR, gig workers, and those that have student loans?
Right. So we just focused on QSR industry to start off with, which is 55% of the total restaurant industry, which is $500 billion a year. Currently, there are 30% gig workers, of which 50 to 60% are Gen Z and millennials. As this 30% becomes 50 to 60% going forward, we expect this presence of gig workers and students to also increase, both by volume and by percentage. So we are talking almost about 2 million employees who might have student loans here.
Can I ask you about your tip payment questions? If you go forward, your $32,000 a year, that one, yeah. I don't know what estimated savings means.
We looked at average revenue for a QSR, and industry suggests it's between 1 million to 2 million. We took a 1.5 million revenue, and the labor cost came down to 450K. With the productivity increase, we saw a 32,000 productivity increase, the retention savings, and the cost of implementing the new solutions. The net effect is a 32,000 savings from the 450K. So 450K basically becomes 420K cost.
And to get that 32,000, this is I'm doing the daily tips?
Yeah.
that seems, so instead of paying my tips once a month, you pay them once a day.
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah.
And the difference is $32,000 per store. That seems big to me.
That again boils down to this number where unpredictable workload and financial instability and on-demand pay are some of the key requirements from the gig workers. Because if I'm a gig worker, I might be at McDonald's today and I might be driving Uber next day, and I do not have control over my schedules. And they want access to the tips on a daily basis, which is a significant amount of what they're making as a part-time gig worker.
So why just tips?
Tips is a starting point because
Why? Like, surely if this small change gets you 32,000, a slightly bigger change will get you 32 million, yeah?
right. Tip is an easy solution because we would not want to be touching the payroll system.
Why not?
I mean, it was once a month earlier. Now it's 2 weeks. Of course, there's a lot of leeway.
And to a point, we want to psychologically have them come back for the wages. So if we if they have the access to wages as well, including the tips, then they might lose the psychological aspect of coming back to work.
It's your plan, but if my suggestion, like, go big, like, pay me every day. Like, for the gig workers, you work $5, hand me $5, right?
Yeah, I mean, once the pilot becomes successful, if this is really giving me that kind of savings, yes, we can expand, we can optimize the solution.
The goal was not to touch the very sensitive and laborious payroll system and start off with something which is significant, but at the same time, something which is dynamic.
And also something that we could do across all the different kinds of employees that we have, because gig workers are 30%, like we mentioned, in the restaurant industry, but you also have your other employees. So that would be just shaking up an entire big mountain. So we kind of started off with tip payments, and if that goes well, we definitely propose to expand it. And with respect to the 32,500, few of the savings that we've seen are increase in productivity, which is 12.5%, and decrease in recruitment costs, which is about 10%. So which kind of sets off against the cost, and then you get the 32,500.